This is the Dichotomies of Life, Episode 1, Who I Am. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today. I wanted to start off with a little disclaimer. I am under the weather right now. I have a little bit of a cold, but it's not going to stop me from getting episode 1 out on time. So just bear with me on my voice. Episode 1, I want to talk about who I am and what I expect you all to take from this podcast. So I'm a husband to my beautiful wife, Angel. We met back in 2014, and we have been on this wild ride ever since. But I do believe that struggle is one of the key components to strength. I will say that again. Struggle is a key component to strength. If you do not struggle and learn how to get over the struggle, you will not get stronger, period. Bodybuilders don't lift up 1 and 2 pound weights to get stronger. I am a manager at a retail establishment. I've been in management for 7 years, and I'm still learning people. There are so many dichotomies to people. There are so many nuances. There are so many different characteristics. There are so many feelings and emotions in people. And learning how to manipulate those feelings is really the determining factor on how successful you are. And I know that manipulate might seem like a harsh term, but when you take it at its actual meaning, to handle or control, typically in a skillful manner, it's a verb. A lot of times people get it confused with use. Using someone and manipulating someone are two different things, because you can't use someone in their favor, but you can manipulate someone in their favor. Let me give you an example. A close friend of mine named Jake used to work for me, and Jake would ask me how he was doing quite frequently. He was someone who took extreme ownership at a young age, and he always wanted to know what he needed to do to improve. And so when I first started working with Jake and he would ask me how he's doing, I wasn't going to tell him that he was doing bad, because what is bad? Bad is just the first attempt at success. So as long as he is keeping up with his progress and asking me questions like, how am I doing? What do I need to do? Then he's good. So me manipulating him in his favor is not using him. So that's manipulation. Using him is, hey, I really don't want to do this task, like clean up this mess over here, but you're the best guy for it. So what I want you to do is put on your happy face and do this for me, and maybe I'll look out for you down the road. That is using someone. So manipulation, again, sounds like a bad word because of the way that it has been used and portrayed. It's just like pit bulls. I won't even get into that right now, but it's synonymous with negativity. I'm a mentor. There's people that look up to me, and I really don't want to say look up to me, but there's people that rely on my skill set. I'm very skilled at what I do, and the people that are following in my footsteps to a degree have questions, and I have answers, and I answer them to the best of my ability. A lot of those guys and gals are going to be on this show, and I can't wait for you all to hear from them, because they're going to have some really good stories moving forward. I'm a creator. I love to create things. Ever since I was 13 years old, I was playing guitar, playing piano, making beats, writing songs, writing books, writing scripts, recording short films. Some of it kind of fizzled out. Some of it didn't. a lot of the skills that I learned at that age, I'm using now to create this very podcast that you're listening to. So a creative mind is a beautiful thing. People who love to create are very susceptible to skepticism. And that's just something that I had to learn at a younger age. I had to hear the quality of what people were saying instead of just the words that might have a certain impact on me. Hey, I like that song, but you should probably do this. And in my head, I'm like, this is my song. I made this song. I was up till 4:00 in the morning recording this song. Who are you to tell me how to? But, as you grow older and you get more wisdom, you start to understand that perspective is one of the best things that you can have. I'm a fighter. I train jiu-jitsu, boxing, Muay Thai, and I love to work out. I love to push my body to the limits. That being said, I also like to relax and watch a football game every now and then, go see a movie, eat some popcorn. It's not always about pushing your body. Sometimes you have to understand that you push your body so that you can enjoy the downtime. Some people might not agree with that, but you have to enjoy life. I am a novice in the stock market. I've made a couple $1,000s on the stock market, which to some that is nothing, to some that's everything. I'm just telling you what I've done. This is putting in a very minimal amount of time in it and teaching myself basically off of YouTube and bouncing ideas off of other people that I know that are prevalent in the stock market. And there's going to be an episode about the stock market and some of the things you can do to delve into the stock market and learn as much as I did and more. It's really exciting. I know you all will enjoy that one. So that's a little bit about me. I want to go ahead and move on to the things that you all can expect from the podcast and my overall goal for the podcast. So, what I expect you all to get from this podcast is without a doubt perspective. Perspective is underrated and perspective is misunderstood. But I want to give you a quick example of what perspective is. So imagine you're in a car and all you can do is look out of the front windshield. There is no window to the left or to the right or in the rear. There are no rear view mirrors. All you can see is forward. Every single decision that you make is going to be based on what you see in front of you. Every way that you respond to the things that you see is based off of what you see in front of you. So imagine the power of looking to the left. Instantaneously, you gain more perspective and you can make better decisions in life. Now you can look to the right, and so on and so forth. That is perspective. And the only way to get perspective is by living life or learning from the past. You cannot learn from right now. Right now is now the past. This very second is now the past. So this podcast, in essence, is to teach you perspective. Let me give you another example. Before I started training jiu-jitsu, the karate or the jiu-jitsu or the gi emoji didn't mean anything to me. It is a white gi with a black belt. Well, now that I train jiu-jitsu, I wonder, well, why don't they have a white belt? Why don't they have a blue belt? Why don't they have a purple belt? Why don't they have a brown belt? So perspective is everything. An emoji that I never looked at now means more to me than just an emoji. So that is perspective. Listening to others' perspectives is one of the most selfless things you can do because it's not about you. It's not about what you think. You're learning from them and their mistakes and their shortcomings or their successes. How many times have you said, man, I wish I knew this beforehand? what you're wishing you had is perspective. If you knew what was going to happen, you probably would have done things different. So that's perspective, and it's very valuable. And this podcast is about hearing other people's point of view and gaining their perspective. So one of the last things I want to talk about today is the past. And I want to take that word past and I want to replace it with the theory of cooking. If you're trying to make your grandmother's favorite recipe or her secret recipe, you're going to have instructions and you're going to have a recipe. Now, what those are the building blocks to success. It's a shortcut. All of the times she has made that recipe and failed, all of the times she has undercooked the meat, all of the times she has overcooked the vegetables, you get to negate all of that because you have everything that you need, the recipe and the instructions. So someone's past is extremely valuable. And when you start looking at it like that, you will be more likely to lower your own ego and listen to people talk. Because when people talk, they are telling you their story. It's almost like a cheat code. I'm not saying go listen to everyone on the street that you come in contact with. What I'm saying is things like this podcast and things like the book Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin, or the Jocko podcast, or the Joe Rogan Experience, or the Tim Ferriss Show. That is how you gain perspective. If you want to succeed at life, you have to look to the past. So something I want to do on every episode is have a word of the episode just to further your knowledge, just to give you another word in your word bank. That word today is delve. It is a verb. It is an action. To delve. To reach inside a receptacle and search for something. So we're going to delve into this podcast and we're going to search for some common sense and we're going to search for some knowledge and we're going to search for some perspective. So thank you for tuning into episode 1 of the Dichotomies of Life. Hopefully this answered your questions, who I am and what this podcast is about. I'm going to go ahead and get better so I'm not drooling all over the microphone here. Thanks for the love. Follow me on all of the social medias at Tucker10_. And stay tuned for episode 2.